Hello, everyone. So, welcome to another exciting episode of BMLH Studio, the Marketers Podcast. And today we are in Dubai, and it's in myco office, and we are really excited about this podcast and looking forward to an exciting session with our guest today. Another shout out to the team myco. This this entire series is powered by myco, and we are here in their office. It's an exciting office. I've met a few people over here. And the overall vibe is really positive, something that we would want to take back to Pakistan. So I quickly introduce our guest for today is Phil, the CEO for myco. How are you, Phil?
I'm great. Thanks for having us on. It's a real
How's
pleasure.
it going?
It's going good. Yeah.
How's business? This is the first question that we usually ask.
Business is good. It's been a very quick start to the year for us. It was, we were working right up until the end of last year. We had a lot of momentum building. We had a great finish to last year in terms of, pretty much everything we were doing, metrics wise, users wise, interest from various strategic partners, investors, etc. It was almost a pity that we had, the festive break, but I think the team, really needed and were due a break after a really hectic year, a really difficult year, kind of trading conditions wise. So good to get back at it. Quick start to the year, as I said, and just trying to pick up those conversations and get them moving again. But I think this is going to be, we're kind of quietly, optimistic about this being, a pretty big year for us, and kind of lots of great stuff coming, I think.
Amazing. So I'll quickly jump onto your, I would say, journey. So I was scrolling through LinkedIn and I found a lot of areas and I would say background that you've worked in multiple companies. You've also background from content, you're in economics, political majors right now as well. I was just going through that as well. So lots of experiences and then coming to myco. So how was your experience of working in different companies and then eventually landing up in myco?
University, I did politics with a kind of bit of a lean into economics for a while, and enjoyed it, but that doesn't necessarily lead you down one specific path, and ended up on a grad scheme for a food and beverage, big food and beverage listed company in the UK, where it was fantastic because you got to experience all different areas of the business, like a kind of standard grad scheme, also how to kind of operate in a big company, and the good things about that it teaches you, but also some of the things that kind of teach you as well in terms of what you maybe like and don't like, and you're young and still learning, finding your feet, and then from that I really kind of actually ended up in marketing, was the thing I really gravitated to. And I think that was probably a mix of the sort of creative side of things, and the kind of planning and the strategic side that I really enjoyed, and also a bit of the sort of management and the planning aspects to it. That then led me into the opportunity with Goldfinch, and coming on board with Kirsty when she was founding that. And really for the last, kind of 10 years, that's been, my sole focus of my professional life has been around Goldfinch and building that with Kirsty, and we've done incredible things in that business in terms of raising and deploying over 200 million, 300 plus projects we've been involved in, a lot of them going on to win awards and really kind of launch people's careers, which we're proud of doing. And over those years ended up getting involved in different ventures as well, other production companies, management companies, distribution companies. So really getting a good kind of overview of the business. And, I'm always curious about different areas of our industry and other industries and how they work and operate. And that normally ends up, with us kind of, trying to be involved in some way as well as, kind of wanting to learn more. And so involved in a number of other kind of adjacent ventures to Goldfinch, and one of those called First Flights, which is a first-time incubator. We started playing around with Web3 technology a few years ago. So First Flights is all about how can you empower young filmmakers and get them their first film made. And we thought, NFTs, tokens might be a way of encouraging that kind of benevolent patronage from people and providing better rewards in return. And that we successfully funded one film using that, and that got us a lot of kind of press and attention. And that led me to meeting. I started to hear things about what was then Content, now myco. Just networking and talking to other people in Web3 and content. And someone had sent me that white paper and said, "There's this company out of Dubai. This is that white paper." I was like, "Wow, this is impressive. They're doing a lot." And this was at a time when, if you'd done anything at all, you were like in the high achievers and the top 1% really as a company. Everyone else was talking about their roadmap and, typical Web3, like, a lot of hot air. And, I dug a bit deeper and I was like, joined their Telegram group and, just started watching from afar really, but was impressed at that stage. And then it just so happened I ended up being invited to talk on a panel, and Omer was talking on the panel as well. Omer, who's the original founder of myco. And from there we just kept in touch. We spoke for a long, we obviously kind of chatted before and after. And again, I was really blown away with what they'd achieved. And then over the next sort of 6 months really, it was a bit of us both kind of pitching to one another, him telling me what a great business he was building, me telling him how I could help them and what we could do together. And that led to coming on board initially to help purely on the content side as kind of a sort of chief content officer and building out their content strategy and the relationships within the entertainment industry more. And how do we invest and produce and license and acquire stuff onto the platform better. And then over time, that's morphed into me, supporting, the Umair and the rest of the management team, strategically, management-wise, helping on the investment raise side, purely because of that experience from other businesses we've been involved in before. And so that's kind of how I find myself, probably quite a lot, probably longer than you were expecting, but that's how I sort of find myself sat here today.
It's a great journey, and I think you guys are doing a great job. In fact, I think 2.5 years ago, so I know Umair since like 13 years back, when he was in Pakistan, he was working for...
Everybody knows Umair.
Yeah, everybody knows Umair in Pakistan in Dubai, and I started seeing this, so while different people were doing different stuff, brands were doing, companies were doing, there was one guy or one person who started thinking about the future of Web 3.0, what can we do? What can we do from a content perspective? And I saw some videos of people wearing those VR glasses, and that was an out of the world experience that we saw, at least on through videos and through content that was posted. And I was really excited. What is this guy doing? And I got really excited back in those times as well. So my next question to you would be: the world is going mad from the advent of content, tech. There's so much happening. Everything is now media. Everything you touch is literally media. So in this mad world, where do you see myco stands, and what is the future that you see from a myco's perspective? That you're saying, okay, this is the aspiration that we have as a content platform, as a tech content platform, within the next few years that you would want to achieve?
Yeah, it's a big question to kind of cover off. I mean, I would say the future of kind of media, however you define media, kind of entertainment, content, media, all kind of fitting together. And in one way, I totally share that it's all melding together. It's all just, one thing now. And I think that's where myco is really well placed to be, the kind of platform of the future, because combining, my personal opinion is that specifically you're seeing content, retail and brands, e-commerce, sports, all kind of coming together into one entity, and that's what we're set up to do really at myco, and we have built into the roadmap going forward. And part of that is driven by the ability to reward the users and the audience that we have, using the tokens and the kind of Web3 engine that underpins it, and building utility to those tokens and give them more ways to use them that span all those different areas that I mentioned. But yeah, I think it's that's where the rest of the industry is kind of moving, some quicker than others. But as soon as you start to switch on to that idea that it doesn't matter, whether it's a feature film or a sporting event or some UGC content, it all plays kind of the same role now for all the different parties involved. And, I think that there's going to be some amazing things that come out and innovations that happen, I think, around this idea that it's all kind of one, kind of block of opportunity now. But I do think having the token that underpins what we do gives us the option to really take advantage of all those different areas. So come to us and watch the sport. Come to us and upload your video as a creator. Come to us and have help fund other content creators. Come to us and have a retail experience of some sort, or be rewarded for your brand for an interaction and your part in the whole, kind of ecosystem we're creating. That starts to become a really exciting opportunity for the consumer and the audience. And I think that's what we've maybe lost sight of in the last few years, is what's exciting for the audience and the consumer. Because most of the platforms out there at the moment are delivering the same sort of content to them again and again and again the same way. So again, my personal view is the ones that are going to win are, yes, the ones that understand this, melting of everything together, but also they're the ones that are offering rewards and experiences that aren't available currently either in retail or content consumption too. And again, I think we're well placed to be doing that now and as we build and develop what we're doing in the future too.
Exciting times for Team myco and for the content, I would say, industry as well, content tech industry. So I'll quickly shift us to different rapid fire questions before we move back to a very serious discussion. So what do you like in life? Do you like, I would say, humorous situations, or do you like challenges, or you're a person who likes both together? And you would want to quote an incident where something happened. Could be a humorous situation, could be a challenging situation where you came out as a winner. Any story that you want to tell from your 15, 16 years of your journey?
That is a great question. I would say I would say everything, I like there to be, a humor element. If you can't kind of laugh, then, kind of what are we doing and why are we doing it? But I do, I think, I am a driven person and I like a challenge, and, I'm probably, when I get bored and I don't have that challenge, then I'm probably quite a difficult person to be around. But
any story that comes to your mind that there are times you laugh that, okay,
being a parent, I think this is a daily thing. Like there's constantly a challenge that, you can either laugh or you can cry at. And you sort of, you have to just sort of focus on getting it done. Maybe come back to it. Let me have a think.
Sure. Perfect. Okay. So we move to the rapid fire round. And you would have to choose. This is obviously rapid fire, so you have to answer extremely quickly on this one. So, okay. So your favorite marketing jargon. So we hear a lot of jargons. Anyone that comes to you?
I'd say Nike, just do it. Because it's like one of the most iconic, and it's so... And it just summarizes like their brand so well as well, and it's been with them for so long. I think it's it's always perfect. Yeah.
And your favorite marketing book?
There's one around like the tipping point. Is it called The Tipping Point? Yeah, Tipping Point. Malcolm Gladwell, which is about how do you get to that stage as a brand or as a business or as an individual.
Do you follow Byron Sharp, by the way? Byron Sharp.
I don't think so. No.
Okay. He's a great he's the, I would say, great marketer. Talks about the new science-based marketing tactics. I would just suggest you. He has an amazing book called How Brands Grow.
Nice.
That is the new Bible of marketing that now people are following. So I would just suggest you that. So your favorite marketer that you've worked in your life, anyone, one name.
Anybody I've worked with. I would say. You know what? The guys that I've learned most from are in myco, definitely in the last couple of years, and it sounds like a bit of a kiss-ass thing to say. From our team, I'd say, man, like I've learned a huge amount from working with them, but also Summer, TJ, the guys that have strong marketing backgrounds in our team. For
Best
sure.
employer that you've worked so far, or a company that you've worked.
I've been lucky enough to work like for myself or for a very long time.
So which company you enjoyed apart, obviously, myco or someone else?
I did Goldfinch. Was also my baby. So it's kind of like kind of lucky to be in that position.
Perfect. Okay, so this is a tricky one. So best employee or team member from myco, and why?
Oh, Jesus.
You have to choose one.
I think that's it depends what day of the week it is.
But you can tell the reason as well. Why?
I'd say Sakib because he set this meeting up. He set this podcast up with us, and so
Amazing.
that's a great thing. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, and this is the random one, so don't judge us. So if you were to plan and to go on a private island, you have to choose one team member. Who would that be from myco?
Maybe Sakib because he's quite a practical guy and he always supplies food and drink to things and looks after me. So
perfect.
Maybe it would be, but be.
Sakib wins the pie now. Yeah.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, thank you, Phil, for the, I would say, tricky questions being answered now. So okay, let's move to another perspective. So before we were planning for this podcast, we also thought we were working on Web 3.0 and we talked to a lot of marketers as well. So as a 101 learning perspective, how would you explain Web 3.0 to a new marketer or a current marketer that has been working in the industry, but they have limited or no knowledge of Web 3.0? And what are the implications from your perspective in the future that will shape the industry or the way we do business in marketing? So that's...
Yeah, and I think this is such a key thing for people to understand, and something that there's various different definitions and way people describe it. But for me, Web3 is the underlying technology that we're seeing emerging, which is blockchain, which is tokenization, and the kind of smart contracts that kind of connect those things as well. And then I think once you start to get your head around those fundamentals, you can then add that next layer on of the kind of practical applications and see how these projects are using it. But once if you get that base, then that's the key. And so it's frustrating when you hear things about, say, the crypto market not doing well or NFTs not doing well, because it's kind of throwing the baby out with the bathwater to say, because really the technology is the valuable bit, and the companies utilizing and creating these new ways of working and engaging with customers and clients and audiences using the technology is an exciting thing. Not just these kind of elements of crypto and NFTs that are popping up and have had some bad press. So I'd say once as a marketeer or as anybody in business, I'd say just do some online reading. There's so much out there. There's some great literature out there that's quick to access about what is the blockchain, what are tokens, and how are they kind of linked together, and how are people using them. And again, once you get that and you start to see that the applications, the kind of world opens up. That's where I started from. And the biggest bit of advice someone gave me was just kind of jump into it. Start reading stuff, start listening to stuff. The community, as in Web3 community, is a relatively open one. It's all about just getting involved and talking and sharing. And actually, that's a key thing to mention as well, is I would say that, a big part of Web3 is actually the community side and the kind of outlook and the vision of it, as much as the kind of technology that underpins it. So that comes down to decentralization and the power of community. So the whole idea that you can utilize the blockchain, you can utilize tokenization, smart contracts to empower, the masses and democratize a lot of things that haven't been open to the general public previously due to gatekeepers or institutions or barriers that exist, or give access to them that they didn't previously have. So that's another key thing to not necessarily read up about, but you'll start to see as someone gets deeper into the space, is that strong sense of decentralization. And there's pockets of quite extreme views on that within Web3 that maybe don't do, the rest of the industry justice. But it's sometimes interesting to hear that, to see like, the different...
It also becomes like a double-edged sword as well at times.
Yeah.
So, and because of the lack of awareness between a lot of people, they are very cautious and experimenting in this realm. And I'll tell you something that we did in the past. So I was working for PepsiCo, and I, as the media director for them, and we did a Lay's NFT back in the days, and we tried to produce that, and it was something that we did back like 2 years back. But over the period of time, I've seen very limited brands from a brand retail FMCG brands that have actually explored the benefits of. You would see Coke or some brands one off who would experiment that, but a lot of tech brands have explored it. But not the broad retail or FMCG. What's your POV on that?
I think you're seeing more. I think I've definitely seen in the last sort of 6 to 12 months, a lot of those kind of top 500 brands start to roll stuff out. They've done it quite discreetly, and they've probably described what they're doing in quite a non-Web3 way deliberately, so it doesn't alienate the audience.
Yeah.
So they probably called, rather than calling it an NFT, they probably called it, a digital collectible or
any examples that you have in your mind?
I'm just thinking like the brands I know that have, particularly Nike have done a lot in the space. The ones that didn't go so well, I think Porsche did one that didn't go too well. I'm trying to think of other ones, but there's been some big. Adidas have been a big push. I was reading yesterday about Lacoste, the fashion brand. I know Louis Vuitton have done a lot on this. Quite a lot of fashion have embraced this quickly. Fashion are quick to embrace a lot of digital trends. Quite a lot of car brands have been. Starbucks have actually had quite a lot of success from it too. And I was reading recently the engagement they've had in the loyalty program they rolled out using NFTs. Has really, delivered for them as a business. So yeah, again, if you start to dip in online, LinkedIn's a great place actually to see these examples coming out. There's a few people I follow there that, are constantly tracking brand usage of Web3 in quite an exciting way. But I think an element of it is that they've done it slightly under the radar, as they're aware that it's been a tricky year in 2023 to start talking about anything that might be considered, related to crypto or NFTs. So
because of the risk as well, and because of the lack of understanding as well, and the volatility in the market as well. So there have been a lot of discussions. So there are you will find two people in the room mostly. One would say that I would stay away from this, either from lack of understanding or because of the perceived risk. And then there would be someone who would say, probably a limited audience that would say, okay, we are driving Web 3.0 and we understand it, and this is the future. Yeah. And we need to jump on the bandwagon before it's too late.
Yeah. From a consumer point of view, we want to make it as simple as possible for those people that are a bit nervous to new things, or new terminology, or the space in general. We want to make it as easy as possible. It's almost like Web3 isn't part of this. Which is why we're strong believers that if you do that through from a content play, and an exciting sort of reward-based play as well, or experience, then that's gonna push them into it a bit quicker, or kind of get them into it in a more kind of frictionless manner, I'd say.
For sure. Thank you for this one. Okay, then any marketing campaign recently that you've seen, any brand that has catch your attention, whether that's from the Web 3.0 or something else?
As a content person, the one that I think pretty much everyone would quote would be like the Guinness adverts, and like the very famous, kind of horses, coming in on the surf, and like the Africa Bambata, song in the background, and that really, for me, for everyone in the industry, whether it's ad side or agency side or content side, is like, herald this new wave of like, adverts being cinematic and really, big budget and impressive things to capture people's attention. But yeah, specifics recently I'm drawing a bit of a blank on. But yeah,
that's perfect. Okay, so we'll do a mystery box kind of a thing, and it's, so any two brands from different categories that you like, any two brands.
Any two brands from different categories I like, I would say, I'd say New Balance.
Okay.
The sneakers and athleisure brand, and
your leading FMCG brand, anyone, any product that you can.
San Pellegrino, I would say.
Okay.
You know San Pellegrino, like the fizzy,
so if you were to,
fizzy flavored water, basically.
If you were to think of a collaborative marketing campaign between the two of brands, what would that be?
It would be insane. It would be like some sort of like crazy action, sport-based, but weaving. Yeah, I could see it on some sort of, kind of coastal runway path that led you into this like beautiful, serene, blue water, white sand beach, where you then, you ran down with your New Balance trainers on and, and New Balance t-shirt, and when you got there, you cracked your San Pellegrino or something. I think this is a great collab that I've managed to think up, to be honest.
We can pitch it to them, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I would buy it, whatever they're trying to sell.
Perfect. I think a lot of creative ideas come from at least starting from a stupid concept, and then they develop into something big. So it is also.
I'm a big believer in like you've got to get it all out on the table, and that's the best place to do that is when everyone's just like got no shame and is kind of throwing all the ideas. Yeah. Because especially in this day and age, the more extreme stuff is, the more interesting and catchy it can kind of be as well. So yeah, that's the kind of age we're in at the moment.
Okay, so last few questions from our side. So now this may be, I don't know if you've thought about this. So from your personal perspective, what would you want to achieve, or what's your aspiration? That this is my goal, and have you at least attained closer to that or not? And what's your overall objective as an individual that Phil would want to achieve this within this life?
Oh, wow, that's a big question. I mean, for me personally, it's about security for family and giving them the best life that they can have, and me the best life that I want to, and then but how that then transcends into work. I think there's no necessarily long-term goal I have with my work life, apart from wanting to be retired as quickly as possible. But I think that's a half joke, because I could never really retire, because I end up kind of annoying everyone I live with. But I think every year I try and at least think, what do I want to try and get out of this year of the things I'm involved in, and try and sort of come back to that as regularly as possible. And that's, people do that in different ways. They and I've done it in different ways as well. It's sort of ever evolving. I used to do it through writing like daily lists or weekly lists, but now I've sort of come to the idea that actually just having those 2 or 3 things that you're trying to push towards every quarter, every year is far better. All the other noise in between sort of ends up sorting itself out, or for me,
make
it
smaller milestones and achieve them rather than thinking.
Yeah. So I have a good idea in my head, what we want to achieve with myco this year, and I think we're well on the way to that. We want to, close our investment round. We want to, expansion into certain places that we're in talks with. We want to hit a certain number on our user base, and I think if we do those 3 things, at least in my mind anyway, I'm sure if you speak to Amer or any of the management team, they'll probably have different ways of looking at it. But if we do those 3 things, then everything else should probably fall in place behind. And you can get in like the numbers of it and making sure that we have revenue coming in and all that. But that's kind of business principles that we should be looking after anyway as business owners. So yeah, I probably say that.
Perfect. Maybe this gives food for thought for you guys as well. Maybe
everything you've said is giving me food for thought. I'm like,
Thank you. So
I need to think of my funny yet challenging story still.
Okay, so any message to the BMLH community, to us, any feedback that you would want to give to us?
Not well. Great question. Well, thank you for having me on first and foremost. Like the story that you told me before we kind of came on to do this, is an inspiring one, and I think it kind of comes back to, when you said what was my favorite sort of tagline or brand, Nike, just do it. It kind of, that's what I try and have as a mentality, and it seems like you guys have of like just get on and do something, and you'll work it out as you go. And the biggest challenge to getting anywhere is just like starting. So yeah, I'd probably say that to the community is like, if you want to do something, then just go and do it, or at least try and start doing it. Yeah.
Thank you. And last thing, any message from your side to the future aspiring marketers or entrepreneurs that want to do something big in life? What's your message to them?
The same, like just get on, just start, like make a start at it, and like don't get too caught up in planning. Like it's good to set it, write your business plan out and have some milestones, but be flexible. And for me, it all comes down to relationships, and being positive, and the person that people want to work with. And if you get those things right, then you'll find a way to make it work, and people will want to come and work for you as well.
For sure. Thank you so much, guys, for your time. Please like and subscribe, and share your comments. I hope you got some learnings from Phil's story. He is a CEO for myco, and he's also part of the co-founding. He is the co-founder for myco, and this podcast is also powered by Team myco. So I hope you guys like the podcast, and there are some interesting insights that you may find. Our thought provokers or thought starters. Thank you so much. This is Taha Khan, co-founder BMLH, signing off.